And U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry made a surprise visit to Somalia today. For security reasons, he held a series of meetings with Somali officials at the airport. This visit is a first for an American Secretary of State. It shows America's readiness to move on 2 decades after dead American soldiers were dragged through the streets of Mogadishu in the failed mission commonly known as Black Hawk Down. Kerry vowed to develop closer ties with the country's new leadership. To discuss more, we are joined by Chika Onyeani. He is the editor-in-chief and publisher of the Africa Sun Times, and he's here in our New York studio. Chika, welcome to Arise America.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for being here. I do appreciate this. Can you talk a little bit about the implications of the visit of the Secretary of State to Somalia? What does that say about the country?
Well, it says that the country is becoming stable. And the government there is, for all intents and purposes, is functioning. And the visit there is to reinforce the perception that that it's a functioning government and that the U.S. is willing to support the government.
It's been 20 years since, that the famous and tragic Black Hawk Down failed mission. Of course, relations very chilly for quite some time. How was it that, or how is it that the U.S. is attempting better relations now, and why is that important to the United States?
Well, the thing is that with what happened last month in Kenya, the killing
You're talking about the killing of the students at the university in Kenya.
148 students killed. The U.S., with his presence, of course, the U.S. has appointed an ambassador to Somalia, but she is not going to be in Somalia. She will be based in Kenya. But the other countries, like UK, France, and all the other European countries, they already have their embassies in Mogadishu. And so with this visit today is to show that the U.S. has confidence in President Mahamadu's government. Yes.
But even so, there's a bit of a contradiction here, wouldn't you say? The Secretary of State went to Somalia, but didn't leave the airport there. That has to be for security reasons, yes?
Well, it is for security reasons because the country is still very unstable, and of course, where he went to, there was a lot of security around it. And it's the first visit by a U.S. Government official of that caliber. And it speaks very well for Somalia because, as you know, Kerry yesterday talked with the Kenyan president about the 450,000 refugees in Kenya, about their going back to Somalia, to persuade the Kenyan president to make sure that those people are not just thrown back to Somalia.
As you say, the visit means that that's credit for the progress of the government, that there is a functioning government in Somalia. However, al-Shabaab has been quite successful in some very tragic and spectacular ways, not the least of which is the Westgate Mall attack more than a year, going on 2 years ago. And of course, you've already mentioned the students at the university. So how is the government doing in fighting terrorism within their own borders?
As you know, the African Union is involved. There are 5 countries from the African continent that have their troops in Somalia and fighting with the Somalian government. Of course, al-Shabaab has been taken out from so many areas, but they still hold some areas in the country. And from there, that is where they have been so successful in carrying out these dastardly attacks on Kenya and other areas of the country, the continent.
And it's important to note that that's a big difference between 20 years ago and today. Al-Shabaab, as I understand it, was in control of the capital city, Mogadishu, and many areas of Somalia, and of course that has been abated just a little bit. What do you want to see the U.S. do in the region?
Well, what I want them to do is to give support, more to the Somalian government and to Kenya and the other countries around, so that they will be able to contain these attacks by al-Shabaab.
When you say support, what do you mean specifically? Are you talking about military aid, training, money? What do you mean?
Well, U.S. is already providing some military support, but they need to have more money for the countries. As I said, Kenya is a perfect example because they are taking care of over 450,000 refugees, and as well as in Djibouti, you have so many Yemenis crossing over.
Right.
In fact, it's estimated that 100,000 Yemenis are going to Somalia, and over 25,000 in Djibouti. That is a lot of problem for those countries.
Yes, indeed. We'll have to leave it there for now. Chika Onyeani, thank you so much.
Thank
Pleasure
you.
speaking with you.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
Burundi's Constitutional Court is approving the president's controversial run for a third term. The court says Parliament appointed President Pierre Nkurunziza to his first term in office, so that one doesn't count. Meanwhile, Burundi is in the midst of a violent uprising over the president's plan to run for office again. At least 12 people have died in 2 weeks of unrest. And in France, the National Front Party is suspending its founder Jean-Marie Le Pen. He recently repeated his view that the Holocaust was just, quote, a detail of history, end quote. The far-right party is trying to change its image away from its racist and anti-Semitic origins. Le Pen says he's ashamed of his daughter, who is now the party's leader. And coming up next on Arise America, an NYU student detained in North Korea, why he says he wanted to be captured by the hostile country.